everyone. I hope you're having a good day today. The other day, two videos came out that I happened to watch on the subject of health and nutrition. And I wanted to share clips of those along with some comments that I think I have to make. The Secretary of HHS, Robert Kennedy Jr., and so anyway, here's a clip that I heard, and just wanted to share this with you first to start out with.
Like many legacy institutions, the WHO has become mired in bureaucratic bloat, entrenched paradigms, conflicts of interest, and international power politics. It's also failed to maintain an organization characterized by transparency and fair governance by and for its member states. The WHO often acts like it has forgotten that its members must remain accountable to their own citizens and not to transnational or corporate interests. Here in the United States, we're going to continue to focus on infectious disease and pandemic preparedness. But we're also fundamentally shifting the priorities of our health agencies to focus on chronic diseases, which are prevalent in the United States. It's the chronic disease epidemic that is sickening our people and bankrupting our healthcare system. We want to free international health cooperation from the straitjacket of political interference by corrupting influences of the pharmaceutical companies, of adversarial nations, and their NGO proxies. Whether it's an emergency outbreak of an infectious disease or the pervasive rot of chronic conditions that have been overtaking not just America, but the whole world, we're ready to work with you. Thank you, and may God bless you, and let's all pray for the health of our children and our grandchildren.
On the same day, I watched another video, and obviously that one I've shortened quite a bit. I clipped a lot out of that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Spoke. I'll put a link to the video if you want to watch the whole video. The other day I did a video on how I felt the healthcare system has been broken. Actually, the experience that I relayed to you happened to me over 30-some years ago. And I've seen this quite often. Recently, I had an experience. My cholesterol went from like 180 to, I think it was like 210 or something like that. I forgot the exact number. But I got a message from my doctor wanting to put me on a statin. I realized that he was covering his butt, so to speak, because if he didn't recommend that, it wouldn't be a standard of care. I, in writing, refused to accept the prescription, which lets him off the hook. That is my right to not put something in my body that I don't want to put in. And I wanted to play you some clips of an interview done at No Carb Life by Dr. Sarah Myhill. She has been referred to as the most investigated doctor. Anyway, her story basically tells a story of how other doctors have taken her to task by the advice that she's given because she is a pro-carnivore diet. And, this just shows you how so many doctors have to toe the line, and those who don't pay a price for it. Anyway, here's some clips that I think will bring together the point.
I have worked as a medical doctor for about 40 years. My first interest was allergy. I was interested in looking at causes of disease. And in those days, in the early 1980s, the classic low allergen diet was the lamb, pears and rice diet. But that didn't get around the problem of the upper fermenting gut. So now, if I have somebody who has a complex clinical picture, the carnivore diet is the starting point because it's low allergen and it's very good for the upper fermenting gut. It's good for the microbiome too. In fact, it's a very healthy diet. Now, the problem with modern diets is they are loaded with carbohydrates. And on top of that, we eat all the time. Breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, supper, snack. And what this means is that the upper fermenting gut becomes constantly colonized by carbohydrate-containing foods. And when that happens, the bacteria and the yeast move in and start to ferment them.
So, in essence, really, a lot of the common chronic problems that we see today could be taken care of. Fix your diet and then make sure you're taking enough vitamins and minerals.
Correct. Absolutely spot on.
What is the typical profile of someone who comes to see you comes to consult with you? Is it someone with asthma?
No, my special interest is in chronic fatigue syndrome. And so I see a lot of patients with chronic fatigue syndrome and ME, which are similar clinical pictures. And the important point to remember about chronic fatigue syndrome and ME is they are not diagnoses, they're clinical pictures. We have to ask the question why. Now, this is something that doctors don't do anymore. Doctors are educated by big pharma, who dish out loads of drugs and want them to be sold. And remember, big pharma's mantra is a patient cured is a customer lost. They don't want cures. They want people on symptom-suppressing medication for life. Why? Follow the money. And now doctors are educated by big pharma and they just follow their guidelines. So establishment medicine in this country has just been reduced to symptom-suppressing drug. Headache is now diagnosed as paracetamol deficiency. Depression is diagnosed as SSRI deficiency. Arthritis is diagnosed as NSAID deficiency. It's rubbish. My job is to, as I call it, give people the rules of the game and the tools of the trade so they can work it out for themselves, because with my help, of course.
So I imagine that doesn't make you all that popular amongst your peers?
No, hugely unpopular. In fact, as a result of this, I am regularly reported to the General Medical Council, not by patients, never had a patient complaint, always by doctors or health authorities or whatever. So I now have the honour of being the most investigated doctor in the history of the General Medical Council. The current score is MyHill 38, GMC nil. There are another 10 cases outstanding, and I'm taking the GMC to the High Court in July because they are unfair in their procedures and they are forbidding freedom of speech. And what that means is that doctors can't give their opinions freely, because if they say something that is outside the government narrative, they get struck off by the General Medical Council. And there are many fantastic doctors for whom this has happened, like Dr. Anne McCloskey in Northern Ireland, Dr. Daniel Armstrong, who's a psychiatrist who's advocating, who's had great concerns about the COVID jab, Dr. Sam White, Dr. Jane Donoghue. These are all good doctors who have said something that doesn't accord with, what the government and the Department of Health are pushing out, that maybe are outside NICE guidelines, and so they get struck off. And what this means is we have doctors in this country who can't practice medicine anymore. All they do is they just churn out the government, the government and the DOH narrative, which means it's going to be reduced to simple algorithms. And the future will be that you will just go and consult a computer that's got a bit of AI on it, and they'll say, take this drug, take that drug. This is not medicine. But sugar hits all the time are incredibly damaging to the body. They accelerate the aging process. They drive diabetes. Sugar is sticky in the hand. It's sticky in the body. It sticks to blood vessels and drives arteriosclerosis. It sticks to brain proteins and drives dementia. It's the fuel for cancer. The difference between cancer cells and normal cells is cancer cells can only run on sugar. So yes, sugar may be lovely stuff, highly addictive, essential for immediate short-term survival, but very damaging in the long term.
It seems it doesn't matter what country you're in. It seems like they all kind of operate under the same rules. Big money has taken over our medical system. Now, this is where I've said before, you need to be your own primary healthcare provider, and then you need to find a primary healthcare doctor. Now, I would encourage you to watch the full interview. There'll be a link again in the description of Dr. MyHill. It's packed with incredibly good and condensed information that you don't have. your doctor probably doesn't have either. And so I encourage you to go watch the entire interview. It's well worth the 50-some minutes. Unlike most of you, I'm 70. I've been retired for several years. I've had the time to go research a lot of this stuff myself and pull together information. You see, you can listen to a cellular biologist, a researcher, and they will have this information. Unfortunately, your doctor is not taught nutrition. Nutritionists are taught information that is 50 or 60 years old. And the new information that's out there that is actually correct or up to date is being suppressed by money. There's also thousands of people out there who have had positive results, who are on the channel No Carb Life, which is the interview that you just watched. I'm hopeful that some real changes will take place. I have heard Robert F. Kennedy Jr. speak on the subject, and he's aware of these things. But, I think he has to slow step to bring the public around, and he's fighting some big money interest. Okay, so here's my final thoughts about low-carb dieting. For those of you who are vegetarians and vegans, I have no problem with your diet. It's just not for me. I have never been a fan of vegetables. I prefer beef. But you guys should be working with us in the idea that if you want healthy vegetables, the best, most natural and healthy fertilizer is cow manure. And so you should be thanking us for creating demand for cows so that you can have good fertilizer for healthy vegetables and not something that's been grown with petroleum-based fertilizers. We should work together. This idea that you need to get rid of animals roaming the land, creating natural fertilizer, I find that just kind of crazy. It should, a real environmental concern should be a balance between animal and plant. And you can then choose if you want to be an animal-based, a plant-based, or just a whole foods-based. Anyway, that's my final thoughts on that. You guys have a great day, whether you're a vegan or a carnivore. Doesn't matter to me. I'm a carnivore, and I'm very happy with my diet. You guys have a great day.
We gain and lose weight based on hormones.
And sugar is poison.
Yes. Carbs contain three things: starches, fiber, and sugars. Okay, versus sugar is just sugar.
There is no weight gain without insulin. You gotta get the insulin down.